when it comes to corporate donations and employee fundraising, how do you determine which disasters to respond to in an equitable and timely manner? So, digging in, which factors do you look at to assess how you will respond? Is it magnitude of the disaster, proximity of your employees, employee inquiries, executive recommendations? What matters most in your assessment? Cameron, can we start with you?
Yeah, I'm going to actually refer to the slide I presented earlier. I mean, we do start off with severity. And so we look at it and how has society been impacted. And the really big question is, has society's ability to respond been overwhelmed? So, smaller disasters, but we're not seeing calls for assistance because, the societal elements are able to respond effectively. Okay, then you're going to be a lower severity, whereas they're overwhelmed, you're higher. And the big thing too, also relevancy. And the last part ties in, the last comments you made tie into our relevancy. Are we already there? Do we have employees affected? Can we operate in the environment? Is it of interest? And so we look at that as well. And so it does mean events with the same severity, but different relevancy scores will affect how we respond, because there are areas of the world where we don't operate. There are areas of the world where we're just not going to be effective because our technology and our people aren't going to be the right resource to bring to the table. So we look at both those factors, and that makes a decision on how we respond. And we try to be as equitable as possible, and especially the global lens on it.
That's great. Thank you, Cameron. Alex, do you take a similar view?
So similar to Cameron, we do start with magnitude of the disaster, and I think we have a little bit more flexibility in terms of being able to respond where we're not located. Although that is something that we consider as well. So I'd say the four main criteria we look at are magnitude, response capabilities, proximity to where we work, and then interest among Googlers. Magnitude for sure. How large is this relative, especially to other disasters and disaster-prone areas, if it's a disaster-prone area, or how large is it if it's like a first crisis in a new area? Response capabilities gives us a little bit of an insight into equity. So like, is the region where that is affected reasonably well able to respond or not? And if not, then that's more reason for us to respond and support. Whereas I see proximity to where we work and Googler interest as more like amplifiers, like how large are we going to make our response because it's where we live and work and because there's a lot of demand internally. One thing that I also say is this is only talking about official Google.org activations. That does not mean that Googlers can't respond by themselves. And the beauty of working with Benevity is that it's a self-service platform. So Googlers around the world, whether or not Google.org is officially responding, Googlers around the world like to respond and create their own campaigns and share it to other employees, and we still match those donations. So I'd say that's kind of the framework for our official response, but there are definitely other responses that we're not involved in directly.